Dr. Qandil is the assistant professor at School of Politics and International Relations, Qasim University of has completed his PhD from Tehran University, Iran. He appears on various national and international TV talk shows, mainly on the affairs of Middle East and South Asian politics. So probably the points which were highlighted by Dr. Nazir Hussain would be addressed here in say. So, Dr. Saab, floor belongs to you. Mic goes to Dr. Saab. If you can unmute yourself, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Dr. Nazir has highlighted very important issues concerned with Pakistan's strategy towards Middle East. I would start with the academic understanding about foreign policy. As we know that foreign policy is the greatest instrument at the state's disposal to pursue its national interests. So a good foreign policy would obviously lead a state in fulfilling its national interests. So now, if we consider Pakistan's foreign policy towards Middle East, one of the basic principles of Pakistan's foreign policy is to develop friendly relations with all the Muslim countries. Foreign Office stated in 2014, we do not interfere and we do not take a side regarding Muslim states. So this is our official foreign policy. The regional security matrix of the Middle East is facing presently serious challenges since the US invasion of Iraq. And consequently, we have great powers intervention in the Middle East. Then we have Abraham Accord, fresh consideration about JCPOA, then Israel's attempts for recognition and normalization in the region. And similarly, most important for Pakistan is Indian engagement is posing serious challenges for Pakistan. So based on all these things, now Pakistan needs to revisit its foreign policy towards Middle East because recent scenarios are posing serious economic and security challenges for Pakistan. So now issue is that basically Pakistan foreign policy is facing serious problems, and these problems can be summarized under two main things. First one is paradox and second one is contradiction, particularly in Pakistan's policy towards Middle East. Because we need consistency and clarity in foreign policy formulation as well as foreign policy implementation. But unfortunately, we have certain paradoxes and contradictions in Pakistan's foreign policy, especially in the phase implementation. I would just highlight two examples to support my argument. First issue is Syria and Syrian crisis. Traditionally, Pakistan was one of the countries that provided tacit military assistance to Syria against Israel during Yom Kippur conflict. There was strong alliance between the Assad's father and Bhutto's family during 1970s. After Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's execution, some left-wing Pakistani who supported Zia's overthrow took refuge to Damascus, and then Syria also granted asylum to the Bhutto's family member in 1979. After the start of Syrian civil war, now Syrians were expecting a lot of support for Pakistan. Pakistan adopted a policy of neutrality. On 17th February 2014, Islamabad stated its support for the formation of transitional government body in Syria. You must observe that the statement which was made in the wake of a Saudi delegation's visit to Pakistan was thought to suggest a policy shift, because on the one hand we were announcing our neutrality, on the other hand we supported overthrow of Bashar Assad, and we supported transitional government body in Syria. On 27 December 2015, Pakistan officially stated that Pakistan is against any attempt to topple government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Again, another stance. Similarly, Pakistan has maintained a position that many believe is in the line with Russia and Iran. Pakistan is close ally of Saudi Arabia, which has rapidly called for Assad's overthrow. So, the Saudi Arabia was expecting support from Pakistan towards its policy against Syria. So same is happening about Yemen. Second example is about Yemen. Officially, again, we adopted neutrality policy. It is a tough challenge for Pakistan to uphold its neutrality when the Yemen conflict erupted, which is directly linked with Saudi-Iranian enmity. Pakistan Parliament decided in April 2015 that Islamabad would stay neutral in the Yemen crisis, a month after the Saudi-led coalition intervened in the conflict. But practically, Pakistan made them sure that if Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's security being challenged, Pakistan will not hesitate to respond to any kind of threat. These are paradoxes. But Pakistan Foreign Office has routinely condemned Houthis strike targeting Saudi cities, but ignoring Saudi's attacks on Yemeni civilians. So the Saudi intervention and partial blockade has resulted in what the United Nations called the world's worst man-made humanitarian disaster. So if we are neutral, we must adopt neutral policy in condemning attacking civilian both in Saudi Arabia or Yemen. But on the one hand, we are supporting Saudi stance against Yemen, but we never condemned civilians' atrocities in Yemen. So when Pakistan's former army chief, General Rahil Sharif, was appointed chief of the 39-nation Islamic military coalition to combat terrorism in March 2017, at that time, Pakistani politicians were of the view that Pakistan cannot afford to enter into any intra-Muslim states power game. So these are different versions, different views. I believe that to cope with all these paradoxes, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, based on homework, spoke reporters and highlighted that Pakistan is trying to shift its foreign policy from geopolitical to geo-economic. And to deal with these paradoxes, I believe that Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has said this shift its geopolitical priorities into the geo-economic priorities. So these priorities were highlighted by Foreign Minister that our new economic security paradigm has three essential pillars. Because when we are shifting our foreign policy from geopolitical aspects to geo-economic aspects, These were named as economic security paradigm. And according to foreign minister, this paradigm is based on three essential pillars. First one is peace, second one is development partnership, and third one is connectivity. I believe these things are very well formulated and academically designed, and we need to implement these pillars in formulation of our foreign policy as well as in implementation of our foreign policy. Then we will be able to just be focused on our geo-economic interests. In the end, I just want to highlight examples of China and India. India clearly adopted pro-Soviet foreign policy during Cold War, but after Soviet collapse, they shifted their foreign policy towards United States and Europe. Similarly, China is at the same time providing more than $400 billion to Iran, and even a high level of support to Saudi Arabia and Israel as well. But none of the states are having any objection towards China. So if we want to learn, we must be focused on geo-economic interest in the Middle East, and we must avoid political interference in this region because that is not in our scope. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And I have a question for you related to it, as you have very brilliantly highlighted that Pakistan is shifting from geostrategic to geo-economic. And what we have seen in past and mostly the recent past, that we have been geostrategic, we have been following a pattern of geostrategic depth. In that, of course, Pakistan always stood with Saudi Arabia in past. And now when we are looking at geo-economic perspectives, of course, CPEC would clearly play a very key role in it. At the same time, last year, we saw that there was a contract which was signed between Iran and China as well. So looking at that aspect, do you not think that if Pakistan shifts towards geo-economic depth, then Pakistan would come more closer to Iran? That could be a deterrence to Iran's, Gulf neighbors. What do you say about it? Where would we be standing in that case?
I believe Gwadar port is only 72 kilometers far from Chabahar port. And enemies of Pakistan are trying to pose these two ports as competitor with each other. But both Iran and Pakistan are of the view that these are sister ports and they can link it. As I have already highlighted, that the foreign minister has highlighted three pillars of economic security paradigm of Pakistan. First one is peace, second one is development partnership, and third one is connectivity. So this connectivity means Pakistan is pursuing CPEC, and on the other hand, Pakistan is pursuing its connectivity with Iran, with Saudi Arabia, with Central Asia, with all Arab states, and whole the region. And on the other hand, we know that under the different agreements we signed with Saudi Arabia, they are ready to invest in Gwadar, and they offered that they want to establish oil refinery in Gwadar. So at the same time, we have offers from Iranian side. At the same time, we have offers from Saudi side. If we are leaving political and geo-strategic aspects, we can be benefited from these geo-economic offers.
Sir, thank you very much, and very simply you have explained it all. Now we would